The alarm bells rang through the command center of Station Omega-7. Commander Zektar looked up from his daily reports with annoyance. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he read the display. 3 unknown ships had entered Council space near the Kepler sector boundary. "Probably more scavengers," he muttered to his aide. "Send the standard warning." The aide, a young hegemony officer with bright blue scales, tapped commands into her console. "Warning sent, Commander. They should receive it in 30 seconds. Zektar stretched his long arms and walked to the viewing screen. The 3 ships looked strange. They were not sleek like proper starships. Instead, they appeared rough and blocky. Their hulls showed metal plating welded together in patches. Primitive fusion drives glowed at the rear of each vessel. "Look at those things," Zektar said with a laugh. "They look like flying scrap heaps. What weapons are they carrying?" The aide checked her sensors. "Kinetic projectile launchers, sir, and some kind of explosive missiles. Very basic technology, nothing that could threaten our shields." "Of course not. No civilized species has used kinetic weapons in 1,000 years." Zektar felt pleased with himself. Another easy day keeping order in Council space. On the lead human ship, the UES Indomitable, Captain Sarah Chen read the incoming message on her screen. The computer translated the alien text into English. The message was not friendly. "Unknown vessels, you have entered Galactic Council territory without permission. Stop your ships immediately. Prepare for inspection. Any resistance will result in destruction of your vessels." Chen turned to her communications officer. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, open a channel. Let me talk to them." "Channel open, Captain." Chen spoke slowly and clearly. Her ship's computer would translate her words into the alien language. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth ship Indomitable. We represent the United Nations of Earth. We request safe passage through your space. We come in peace." On Station Omega-7, Zektar listened to the translation with amusement. "Earth? United Nations? Never heard of them." He looked at his aide. "Check the database. Are these people registered anywhere?" The aide searched through the Council's records. "No match found, sir. They claim to be from something called Earth. No such world exists in our files. Another backward planet thinking they matter," Zektar said. "Send them the standard response. Tell them about protectorate status." The message reached Captain Chen a few minutes later. It explained that unknown species must accept protection from one of the major Council races. Earth would become a tributary world. They would provide resources and workers. In return, the Council would protect them from threats. Chen read the message twice. Her jaw tightened with anger. She turned to her first officer, Commander Martinez. "They want us to become slaves." "Yes, Captain, just like we expected." Chen had studied everything Earth's scientists learned about the Council over the past year. Humanity had detected alien radio signals 18 months ago. Since then, every radio telescope on Earth had listened to alien communications. Earth's computers had cracked their languages. Earth's leaders had learned about the Galactic Council. The Council ruled over 300 species across the galaxy. Most of these species had no choice in the matter. They worked for the Council. They provided what the Council wanted. In return, the Council did not destroy their worlds. "Rodriguez, send another message," Chen ordered. "Tell them we decline their generous offer." On the station, Zektar could not believe what he heard. They declined? Do they understand what that means? "Perhaps they need more explanation, sir," the aide suggested. "Yes. Send a patrol ship. Let them see proper Council technology. That usually convinces primitives to cooperate." The patrol ship Stellar Pride launched from the station. It was beautiful by Council standards. Its hull gleamed like polished silver. Energy shields shimmered around it like soap bubbles. The ship moved with grace through space. Captain Chen watched it approach on her screens. "Look at that thing. It's 3 times our size." "Their shields are strong," reported the weapons officer. "Our regular guns would not scratch them." "Good thing we did not bring regular guns," Chen said with a smile. The Stellar Pride stopped 1,000 kilometers from the human ships. Its captain, a proud hegemony warrior named Kethvor, opened communications. "Primitive vessels, I am captain. Kethvor of the Council Patrol Fleet. Your weapons cannot harm my ship. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Submit now, and we will be merciful." Chen stood up from her command chair. "Rodriguez, make sure they can see me when I respond." The communication screen showed Captain Chen standing on her bridge. Behind her, human crew members worked at their stations. To alien eyes, humans looked small and weak. They had only 2 eyes and soft skin. They appeared to be prey animals rather than predators. Captain HFY, Chen began. Thank you for the demonstration. Now let me show you something. Chen nodded to her weapons officer. Fire one warning shot. Target that asteroid cluster 2, our left. The Indomitable's main gun rotated toward a group of large rocks floating in space. The weapon looked simple compared to Council energy beams. It appeared to be just a metal tube. Firing, the weapons officer announced. The gun shot a single metal rod into space. The rod was only 2 meters long and 10 centimeters wide, but it moved at 15% of light speed. When it hit the largest asteroid, the result shocked everyone watching. The asteroid did not just break apart, it vaporized completely. The explosion created a flash of light brighter than a small sun, chunks of rock scattered in all directions. Some pieces hit other asteroids and shattered them too. On the Stellar Pride, Captain HFY stared at his sensors in disbelief. That is impossible! What kind of weapon was that? His science officer ran calculations frantically. Sir, they fired a kinetic projectile at relativistic speed. The impact energy was equivalent to a nuclear warhead. How did they accelerate it so fast? Unknown, sir. Our sensors detected antimatter signatures during the launch sequence. Captain HFY felt fear for the first time in his military career. Kinetic weapons were primitive, but kinetic weapons moving at light speed were something else entirely. The Indomitable Chen spoke calmly into the communicator. Captain HFY, that was a warning shot. Our actual warheads are much larger, and we have many of them. She paused to let that sink in. Now we would like to discuss safe passage through Council space. Are you ready to talk like civilized people? Back on Station Omega-7, Commander Zektar watched the recordings with growing alarm. He had never seen weapons like this. The Council had maintained peace for 3,000 years through superior technology, but these humans had technology the Council did not understand. Get me a direct line to Fleet Command, he ordered his aide. Priority 1 emergency. Yes, sir. What should I tell them? Zektar looked at the 3 human ships on his screen. They looked the same as before, rough and primitive, but now he knew better. Tell them we have a problem. Tell them the primitives have teeth. As emergency signals flashed toward the Council homeworlds, Captain Chen sat back in her command chair. Phase 1 of Earth's plan was complete. The Council now knew that humanity existed. They knew humans had powerful weapons. Most importantly, they knew humans would not submit without a fight. Chen smiled as she thought about the 12 other human ships hiding in nearby star systems. The Council thought they were dealing with 3 primitive vessels. They had no idea what was coming. Set course for the next waypoint, she ordered. It's time for Phase 2. 3 days after the asteroid incident, the diplomatic ship Golden Harmony entered the Kepler sector. It was the most beautiful vessel in the Council fleet. Its hull was made from pure crystalline materials that sparkled like diamonds. Inside, everything was designed to impress primitive species with the power and wealth of the Galactic Council. Ambassador Velshar stood in her luxury cabin, preparing for another routine first contact. She was a Zelanian, tall and graceful with silver, skin that changed colors with her emotions. She had handled dozens of primitive species over her long career. They all followed the same pattern. First, they acted defiant. Then they saw Council technology. Finally, they begged to join as tributaries. Have the humans responded to our invitation? She asked her aide. Yes, Ambassador. They agree to meet, but they insist on neutral ground. Velshar laughed, a sound like wind chimes. Neutral ground? They are in Council space. There is no neutral ground here. She thought for a moment. But let them have their pride. We will meet on the mining station at Kepler 7. It has been abandoned for years. 2 hours later, Ambassador Velshar's shuttle docked with the old mining station. The station was dark and cold. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the metal walls. She brought 6 guards and 2 assistants. They wore full ceremonial armor to intimidate the primitives. Captain Chen arrived with only 2 people, Commander Martinez and Lieutenant Torres, her science officer. They wore simple blue uniforms with no decorations. To Velshar, they looked like maintenance workers rather than military officers. The meeting took place in the station's old conference room. Velshar activated a holographic projector that showed the galaxy. Thousands of star systems glowed in different colors. Welcome to civilized space, Velshar began. I am Ambassador Velshar of the Galactic Council. We have maintained peace and order for 3,000 years. She waved her hand, and the hologram zoomed in on different sectors. The blue systems belong to the hegemony. They are our strongest military partners. The green systems belong to the Trade Federation. They manage commerce across the galaxy. The red systems belong to the Science Consortium. They develop new technologies. Captain Chen listened politely, but said nothing. Your species shows promise, Velshar continued. Your weapons demonstration was impressive for such a young civilization. The hegemony has offered to sponsor your membership in the council. What does that mean exactly? Chen asked. It means protection. The galaxy is dangerous for small species. Pirates, raiders, hostile aliens. But under hegemony protection, Earth will be safe. And in return? Velshar smiled. Earth will contribute to galactic civilization. You will provide workers for council, projects, mining, manufacturing, construction. Your people will learn valuable skills. Chen looked at her officers. Martinez nodded slightly. Torres made notes on her tablet. Ambassador, Chen said carefully, let me make sure I understand. Earth becomes a tributary world. We provide workers and resources. The hegemony protects us from threats. Is that correct? Exactly. You learn quickly. I knew humans were intelligent. Chen reached into her jacket and pulled out a small device. She placed it on the table and activated it. The device projected a three-dimensional map of the local galaxy. Sector Velshar leaned forward with interest. What is this? Our own survey of this region, Chen explained. We have been watching Council space for 14 months. The map showed detailed information about Council military positions, fleet movements, trade routes, defensive installations, even secret research facilities that most Council members did not know existed. This is impossible, Velshar whispered. How did you obtain this information? We are good at watching and listening, Chen said. For example, we know about the Talari rebellion 5 years ago. The Council promised them autonomy. Instead, you bombed their cities when they refused. To increase mining quotas, Velshar's skin turned darker with anger. The Talari were terrorists. They attacked Council personnel. After you enslaved their children, Martinez added quietly. We know about the Kresh uprising too, Chen continued. And the Voidwalker, resistance. Always the same pattern, promises of partnership, then exploitation, then extermination when they resist. Lieutenant Torres activated her own tablet. We have detailed records of 17 species that joined the Council in the past century. 3 are now extinct. 8 have lost their homeworlds to industrial accidents. The rest survive as slave labor. Ambassador Velshar stood up abruptly. Her guards moved closer to the humans. You dare to insult the Council? We have brought peace to the galaxy. Peace for who? Chen asked. Your records show the Council controls 847 inhabited worlds. Only 23 of those worlds have any real voice in Council decisions. The rest are colonies, mining worlds, or factory planets. Civilization requires order, Velshar said coldly. Primitive. Species cannot govern themselves. They need guidance. From who? Species that enslave them? The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Velshar's guards had their hands on their weapons, but Chen remained calm. Let me show you something else, Chen said. She activated another device. This projection showed technical specifications for human weapons, the kinetic accelerators they had demonstrated, but also other things. Antimatter, containment systems, relativistic missile drives, gravitational field generators. These are your weapons? Velshar asked with surprise. Some of them. We develop new designs every month. But your ships look so primitive. Appearances can be deceiving, Chen said with a smile. Your ships are beautiful, elegant, designed to impress people with your wealth and power. Our ships are designed for one purpose, war. Torres added more information to the display. Human military doctrine focuses on overwhelming firepower and tactical flexibility. We studied every Council military engagement for the past 50 years. Your tactics have not changed in centuries. You fight like it is a game, Martinez said. Formal challenges, predetermined rules, minimal casualties, very civilized. What is wrong with minimizing casualties? Velshar demanded. Nothing, if your enemy plays by the same rules, Chen replied. But what happens when they do not? Chen activated a final projection. This one showed Earth's military production facilities, shipyards working around the clock, weapons factories on every continent, millions of humans training for space combat. This is what we built while you debated our application for tributary status, Chen explained. 67 ships of the line, 300 support vessels, 500,000 trained personnel. You are threatening the Council? Velshar asked in disbelief. No, We are declining your generous offer of slavery. Velshar's skin turned bright red with rage. You think you can fight the entire Galactic Council? We have 1,000 worlds, millions of ships. Yes, you do, Chen agreed. But you have never fought anyone who refused to lose. We studied your history carefully. Every species that challenged the Council did so alone. They fought defensively. They tried to protect their homeworlds. Chen stood up and walked around the table. We will not make those mistakes. What do you mean? We mean that Earth is already evacuating non-essential personnel to colony worlds in other galaxies, Martinez explained. We mean that human ships are not designed to protect territory. They are designed to attack. Most importantly, Chen added, we mean that every oppressed species in Council space has been receiving detailed intelligence about Council military weaknesses for the past 6 months. The room fell silent. Velshar stared at the humans with growing horror. You have been contacting Council member worlds? That is an act of war. No, Chen corrected. An act of war is what the Council has been doing to those worlds for centuries. We are just offering them a chance to fight back. Chen walked back to her chair. So let me make you a counter-offer, Ambassador. The Council can leave Earth alone. In return, we will limit our activities to worlds that request our assistance. And if the Council refuses? Chen smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Then you will learn why humans spent most of their history fighting each other. We are very good at war, Ambassador. It is what we do best. Ambassador Velshar gathered her dignity and prepared to leave. The Council will hear of this insult. You have made a terrible mistake. Perhaps, Chen said, but we would rather die free than live as slaves. As the diplomatic shuttle departed, Chen looked at her officers. Phase 2 complete. Time to see how they respond. Martinez nodded grimly. Think they will try diplomacy or force? Force, Chen said without hesitation. They always try force first. Torres checked her communicator. Message from Admiral Park. The fleet is in position. Good. Let them come. Admiral Zektar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Around him, the largest Council battle fleet assembled in 50 years spread across space like a metallic constellation. 47 ships of various sizes and designs. Hegemony dreadnoughts with their gleaming armor, Trade Federation cruisers bristling with defensive systems, Science Consortium vessels filled with experimental weapons. Status report, Zektar ordered. His tactical officer, a 4-armed Keltharian named Vex, consulted his displays. All ships report ready, Admiral. We have the humans completely surrounded. They cannot escape. Through the main viewing screen, Zektar could see the human fleet. 12 ships now, instead of the original 3. They looked just as crude and primitive as before. Rough metal hulls welded together in sections, no elegant curves or artistic flourishes, just ugly, functional shapes hanging in space. How many humans can those ships carry? Zektar asked. Approximately 8,000 total, sir. Our fleet carries over 200,000 personnel. Zektar felt confident. The Council had used overwhelming force to maintain order for millennia. Show primitive species the size of your fleet, and they usually surrendered without fighting. It was cheaper than actual warfare and kept casualties low on both sides. Open a communication channel to the human flagship, on the bridge of the UES. Indomitable. Captain Chen watched the Council ships take their positions. Each alien vessel was beautiful in its own way. They moved with precision and grace. Their formation was perfect, textbook tactics. Impressive, commented Commander Martinez. They really know how to put on a show. Too bad they arranged themselves exactly like we expected, Chen replied. Rodriguez, are you recording everything? Yes, Captain. Full tactical analysis being transmitted to Earth in real time. The communication screen activated showing Admiral Zektar in his elaborate uniform. Behind him, Chen could see the pristine bridge of his flagship. Everything was clean and polished. The crew worked quietly at their stations like technicians in a laboratory. Human Captain, Zektar began formally. I am Admiral Zektar of the Council Defense Fleet. You are surrounded by superior forces. Your position is hopeless. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Chen studied the alien admiral for a moment. Admiral, I have a question. How many actual battles has your fleet fought? Zektar looked confused. What kind of question is that? A simple one. Combat experience. Real fighting against enemies who shoot back. The Council fleet has maintained perfect order for 3,000 years, Zektar said proudly. We rarely need to fire our weapons. Our presence alone is usually Sufficient. I see. So you are saying your crews have never been in actual combat? There is no need for unnecessary violence when overwhelming superiority is clear. Chen nodded slowly. Admiral, let me explain something about humans. We have been fighting wars for our entire history. Every human on these ships has trained for combat since childhood. We know what real war looks like. Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate our shields, Zektar said dismissively. Would you like to test that theory? Before Zektar could respond, Chen turned to her weapons officer. Lieutenant Park, are all ships ready? All ships report weapons armed and targeting solutions locked, Captain. Fire! The human fleet opened. Fire simultaneously. But they did not target the Council ships directly. Instead, they aimed at the space around the enemy formation. Dozens of missiles streaked out from human ships. They exploded in brilliant flashes, creating clouds of metallic debris. What are they doing? Vex asked in confusion. They missed completely. Admiral Zektar was equally puzzled. Some kind of warning shot? Or perhaps their targeting systems are defective. On the Indomitable, Chen smiled. Phase 1 complete. All ships execute Pattern Alpha. The human ships suddenly accelerated, but not away from the Council fleet. They charged directly toward the enemy formation at maximum speed. They are attacking? Zektar could not believe it. All ships, open fire, stop them! The Council fleet began shooting. Energy beams lanced across space toward the charging human ships. Most of the shots connected. But instead of destroying the human vessels, the energy beams scattered harmlessly off their hulls. Impossible, Vex shouted. Their ships have no shields. How are they deflecting our weapons? The debris clouds, someone called out. They are using the metallic particles as chaff. Our targeting systems cannot lock properly. Chen's plan was working perfectly. The debris clouds interfered with Council sensors and targeting computers. Energy weapons that required precise aim became nearly useless. All ships, switch to area effect weapons, Zektar ordered. But the human ships were already too close. They plunged into the Council formation like wolves attacking a flock of sheep. Instead of engaging in formal ship-to-ship duels, they used tactics the Council had never seen. The UES Defiance, one of the smaller human ships, rammed directly into a Trade Federation cruiser. Both ships were destroyed in the explosion, but the burning wreckage continued forward, smashing into 2 more Council vessels. They are using their ships as weapons, Vex reported in horror. Madness, Zektar muttered. Who destroys their own? Ships on purpose? The UES Perseverance answered that question. It launched all of its fighters and missiles at point-blank range into a hegemony dreadnought. The massive alien ship staggered under the impact. Its shields failed. Then the Perseverance activated its self-destruct system. The explosion tore a hole in the dreadnought's hull. Atmosphere and debris vented into space. The proud vessel began to list helplessly. Sir, we are losing ships faster than we can respond, Vex reported. The humans are fighting like berserkers. Admiral Zektar tried to understand what was happening. Council doctrine emphasized preserving ships and minimizing casualties. Battles were supposed to be orderly affairs with clear winners and losers. But the humans ignored all the rules. Human ships worked in pairs and groups. They shared targeting data instantly. When one ship was damaged, others moved to protect it. When a human ship was about to be destroyed, it tried to take enemy vessels with it. Most disturbing of all, human crews kept fighting even when their situation was hopeless. A damaged human frigate with failing engines continued firing until its power core exploded. Human fighters attacked Council ships 10 times their size without hesitation. They do not fear death, Zektar realized with growing alarm. The UES Indomitable led a coordinated attack on the Council flagship. 3 human ships approached from different angles, forcing the Eternal Dominion to split its fire. Captain Chen's ship took heavy damage but kept coming. Chen to all ships, her voice crackled over the communications. Execute Pattern Delta. Take out their command ship. Captain, our hull is breaching in 6 sections, Martinez reported calmly. We have fires on 3 decks. Can we still fight? Yes, ma'am. Then we keep going. The Indomitable launched a full spread of kinetic projectiles at the Council flagship. The metal rods moved too fast for point defense systems to stop. They punched through the alien ship's shields and armor like bullets through paper. Admiral Zektar felt his ship shudder under the impacts. Alarms blared throughout the bridge. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. Admiral, we have hull breaches on multiple decks, Vex reported. Main power is failing. Through the chaos, Zektar could see the human flagship approaching. Its hull was scarred and burning. Pieces of armor hung loose from its frame. But its weapons were still firing. Sir, incoming transmission from the human ship. Put it through. Captain Chen appeared on the screen. Behind her, the bridge of the Indomitable was filled with smoke. Sparks flew from damaged consoles. But Chen looked calm and determined. "Admiral Zektar, this is your last chance. Order your fleet to withdraw, or we will destroy every ship here." Zektar looked around his bridge. Half his crew was injured. His beautiful flagship was crippled. Around him, the Council fleet was in chaos. Ships burned and drifted helplessly. The humans had lost only 4 vessels, but they had disabled or destroyed over 20 Council ships. "How?" Zektar asked quietly. "How did you do this?" Chen smiled sadly. "Admiral, you fight like this is a game. Pretty ships in neat formations. Careful targeting to minimize damage. You worry about preserving equipment and avoiding casualties." She paused as another explosion shook her ship. "We fight to win. Nothing else matters." "You are savages." "Maybe. But we are alive savages, and you are defeated civilized people." Admiral Zektar closed his eyes. In 3,000 years, no one had ever spoken to a Council fleet this way. "What do you want?" "We want you to remember this day. When you go back to the Council, tell them what happened here. Tell them what it looks like when someone fights back." Chen leaned forward on her screen. "Tell them the age of easy conquest is over." Admiral Zektar gave the order to retreat. As his surviving ships limped away from the battlefield, he stared at the human fleet. They had won against impossible odds. But more than that, they had changed everything. The Council's reputation for invincibility was broken. Word of this battle would spread to every oppressed world in the galaxy. Other species would learn that the Council could be defeated. "Send a priority message to the homeworlds," Zektar told his communications officer. "Tell them we need reinforcements. Tell them we are at war." Behind them, the human ships regrouped and continued deeper into Council space. Their mission was just beginning. The great chamber of the Galactic Council had not seen such chaos in 1,000 years. Representatives from 300 species filled the vast circular hall, their voices creating a symphony of panic and outrage. At the center, the triumvirate sat on their elevated platform. 3 ancient beings who had ruled the galaxy for longer than most species had existed. Counselor. Prime Nethys of the hegemony rose from her crystal throne. Her massive form cast shadows across the chamber. 6 meters tall with armored skin and burning red eyes, she was the embodiment of Council military power. When she spoke, her voice boomed like thunder. "Silence!" The chamber fell quiet instantly. No one dared disobey a direct command from the triumvirate. "We have received disturbing reports from the Kepler sector," Nethys continued. "Admiral Zektar's fleet was defeated by unknown aliens calling themselves humans." Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the assembled delegates. Defeats were impossible. The Council had not lost a major battle in 3 millennia. "How many ships did these humans have?" asked the representative from the Altair Commerce Guild. 12, Nethys replied grimly. The chamber erupted again. 12 ships defeating a Council battle fleet? It sounded like a fabrication. Counselor Prime Vorthon of the Science Consortium activated a holographic display. He was the opposite of Nethys, thin and pale, with enlarged cranium and multiple mechanical implants. His voice was soft, but carried clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "We have analyzed the battle recordings," Vorthon said. "These humans employ tactics we have not seen since the time before peace. They use their ships as expendable weapons. They sacrifice themselves to achieve victory." "Barbaric," muttered the Zephyrian delegate. "Effective," Vorthon corrected. "Our military doctrine assumes rational behavior. We preserve resources. We minimize casualties. We fight according to established protocols." The hologram showed clips from the battle. Human ships ramming Council vessels, suicide attacks, coordinated strikes that ignored traditional formation fighting. "The humans ignore our protocols entirely," Vorthon continued. "They fight to destroy their enemies regardless of cost to themselves." Counselor Prime Dathmore of the Trade Federation spoke for the first time. She was beautiful in an alien way, with flowing tentacles instead of hair and skin that shimmered like oil on water. Her voice was musical but cold. "The economic implications are severe," she said. "Already, 3 tributary worlds have stopped their resource shipments. The Talari survivors are organizing resistance cells. The Kresh colonies are demanding independence." "They dare to rebel?" Nethys roared. "They have hope," Dathmore replied. "Hope that someone can defeat us. The humans have given them that." She activated her own display, showing economic data from across the galaxy. "Trade revenues are down 18%. Mining quotas are not being met. Several shipping routes have been attacked by unknown raiders." "Pirates," suggested someone. From the back of the chamber. No, said a new voice. Freedom fighters! Everyone turned to see who had spoken. It was Keth Moore, the ancient keeper of records. He rarely left his archives deep beneath the council chambers. When he appeared, it usually meant grave news. Keeper, Nethys said formally, you honor us with your presence. What wisdom do the archives hold? Keth Moore hobbled forward on his walking staff. He was older than the Triumvirate themselves, one of the last beings who remembered the galaxy. Before council rule, I have spent 3 days reading the forbidden archives, he said in a voice like autumn leaves. The sealed records from the time before peace. The chamber fell silent. The ancient archives were never opened. They contained knowledge the council preferred to forget. What did you find? Vorthon asked quietly. I found that this has all happened. Before, Keth Moore replied. In the early days of the council, young species often fought like these humans. They used what we called ancestor tactics. He paused to catch his breath. Ship ramming, suicide attacks, fighting to the death rather than surrender. Back then we called such species dangerous. We eliminated them quickly before their ideas could spread. Then we know how to handle the humans, Nethys said with satisfaction. No, Keth Moore said firmly. You do not understand. The humans are not using ancestor tactics randomly. They have studied our responses. They know our weaknesses. He activated an ancient projector that showed star charts from millennia ago. Look at their ship movements. They are not trying to protect their homeworld. They are spreading across our territory, like a plague. The charts showed human vessels appearing in dozens of systems simultaneously. They were not concentrated for defense. Instead, they were scattered across half the galaxy. They are contacting every oppressed species they can find, Keth Moore continued. Sharing intelligence, providing weapons, teaching tactics. Impossible, Dathmore protested. How could primitives know so much about our operations? Because they have been watching us, Keth Moore said, for longer than we realized. He showed communications intercepts that Council intelligence had dismissed as background noise. When properly decoded, they revealed something terrifying. The humans had been listening to Council transmissions for years. They knew everything: fleet movements, supply routes, military protocols, political divisions between Council members. The humans have a complete picture of our civilization. Councillor Vorthan's mechanical implants whirred as he processed this information. If they know our weaknesses, they can exploit them. They can turn our own systems against us. Already happening, reported the Syrian delegate urgently. The humans broadcast our classified battle recordings across open channels. Every tributary world has seen Council ships being destroyed. Our reputation for invincibility is gone. Worse, added the Andromedan representative, they are broadcasting instructions. How to build weapons from mining equipment. How to disrupt Council communications. How to organize resistance cells. Nethys slammed her armored fist on her throne. Then we crush them. We mobilize every ship in the fleet. We burn their homeworld to ash. And prove to the galaxy that we rule through terror? Keth Moore asked quietly. That will turn every species against us. They are already turning against us, Nethys snarled. Some are, but many still hope for peaceful change. If we resort to genocide, even our loyal members will question our authority. Dathmore studied economic projections on her displays. The Keeper is correct. Full military mobilization would cost more than our treasury can support. We need the tributary worlds producing resources, not fighting us. Then what do you suggest? Vorthan asked. Keth Moore was quiet for a long moment. In the old archives, there are records of the last species to fight like the humans. They were called the Vokhai, proud warriors who refused to surrender. What happened to them? Someone asked. We destroyed their homeworld, but not before. They taught their tactics to 17 other species. The resulting wars lasted 2 centuries and nearly broke the early council. The chamber was silent as delegates absorbed this information. Are you saying we cannot defeat the humans? Nethys asked dangerously. I am saying that defeating the humans may not be enough, Keth Moore replied. The idea of resistance is spreading faster than our ability to contain it. Even if we destroy every human ship, the damage is done. He activated one final display. This one showed rebellion indicators across council space, previously loyal worlds showing signs of unrest, decreased productivity, communications blackouts, missing cargo shipments. 17 major systems have gone dark in the past week, Keth Moore continued. Not conquered by humans. Simply not responding to council authority. Temporary disruptions, Dathmore said, but her voice lacked confidence. Perhaps. Or perhaps the beginning of the end. Counselor Prime Vorthon ran calculations on his internal computers. If current trends continue, we will lose effective control of 30% of council space within 6 months. Unacceptable, Nethys declared. Order general mobilization. Every ship, every soldier. We end this now. That will leave our core worlds undefended, Dathmore warned. Against who? A few primitive humans? Kethmore laughed, a sound like wind through dead trees. You still do not understand. The humans were never the real threat. He gestured to the displays showing rebellion across the galaxy. They are the catalyst. They proved that the Council can be resisted. Now every oppressed species in the galaxy knows it. Then we make an example, Nethys said coldly. We pick one rebellious world and obliterate it. Show the others what defiance costs. And prove that we are exactly what the humans claim we are, Vorthon observed. Tyrants who rule through fear. The debate continued for hours. Some delegates called for immediate military action. Others urged caution. A few suggested attempting diplomacy with the humans. Finally, Counselor Prime Nethys called for a vote. All in favor of general mobilization against human forces and their allies. The vote was close, but fear won over caution. Mobilization approved, Nethys announced. Every available ship will converge on the human homeworld. We will end this threat once and for all. As delegates filed out of the chamber, Kethmore remained behind. He stared at the ancient archives, thinking of civilizations that had fallen because they could not adapt to change. Keeper, Vorthon approached H. 6 months after the first human ships entered Council space, the fortress world of Dominion Prime faced its first attack in 3,000 years. The planet was the heart of Council power. Its surface was covered with gleaming cities and military installations. Orbital defense platforms ringed the world like mechanical moons. Admiral Sarah Chen, now commanding the combined Liberation Fleet, stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant. Through the viewing screen, she could see the largest armada in galactic history. Over 2,000 ships from dozens of species, humans, Talari, Kresh, Voidwalkers, and many others who had thrown off Council rule. Status report, Chen ordered. Commander Martinez, her second-in-command, consulted his displays. All fleet groups report ready. The Talari have disabled the outer sensor grid. Kresh infiltrators have taken 3 orbital platforms. The Void. Walkers are jamming Council communications. Casualties? Heavy on all sides, but we expected that. Chen nodded grimly. This battle would determine the future of the galaxy. If they won, the Council's grip on power would be broken forever. If they lost, the liberation movement would die with them. Message from Admiral Zektar, the communications officer reported. The Council fleet wants to negotiate. Chen almost smiled. After 6 months of hunting us across the galaxy, now they want to talk? On the screen, Admiral Zektar appeared. He looked older and more tired than when Chen first met him. His proud uniform was wrinkled. His confident expression had been replaced by something close to desperation. Admiral Chen, he began formally, I speak for the Galactic Council. We are prepared to discuss terms for ending this conflict. I am listening. The Council recognizes Earth as an independent world. We will not interfere with human activities in your home system. In return, you will cease supporting rebellions in Council space. Chen was quiet for a moment. Behind Zektar, she could see the Council's massive fleet, beautiful ships arranged in perfect formations. Even now, they looked impressive and powerful. Admiral Zektar, do you know what happened on Kepler 9 last week? Zektar's face tightened. The mining world. Yes, I heard. The Council's response to a peaceful demonstration. Orbital bombardment of civilian targets. 50,000 dead, including children. The situation required decisive action, Zektar said defensively. Decisive action, Chen repeated. Is that what you call mass murder? She activated her own display, showing footage from Kepler 9. Burning cities, refugee camps, children crying over their dead parents. This is why we fight, Admiral. Not for Earth's independence, we already have that. We fight because the Council cannot be allowed to continue. You cannot defeat us, Zektar said. Our fleet outnumbers yours 3-1. Numbers are not everything. Chen was right. The Council fleet was larger, but it was also divided. Hegemony ships did not trust Trade Federation vessels. Science Consortium crews questioned their orders. Many species had been forced to contribute ships to a war they did not understand. The Liberation Fleet was smaller, but united. Every crew knew exactly why they were fighting. They had all suffered under Council rule. They all wanted freedom more than life itself. Admiral, Martinez said quietly. Long-range sensors show Council reinforcements approaching. Another 1,000 ships. Time until they arrive? 4 hours. Chen turned back to the communication screen. Admiral Zektar, you have one chance to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, order the Council fleet to stand down, allow us to land troops on Dominion Prime for peaceful occupation. Impossible! The Triumvirate would never allow it. Then the Triumvirate has chosen war. Chen cut the communication and turned to her fleet commanders. Representatives from 20 species filled her bridge via hologram. You heard the Council's final answer, she said. Are we ready to do this? Captain Velnoth of the Telari spoke first. His people had been enslaved for generations. The Telari fleet stands ready. We will not fail our children again. Commander Thekvar of the Kresh nodded agreement. The mining clans remember their dead. We fight to the end. One by one, each species confirmed their readiness. These were not professional soldiers like the Council crews. They were farmers, miners, factory workers who had learned to fight because they had no choice. Then let us begin, Chen said. The battle for Dominion Prime started unlike any previous Council engagement. Instead of formal challenges and careful formations, the Liberation Fleet attacked from all directions simultaneously. Telari ships used their knowledge of Council technology to disable enemy shields. Kresh vessels, built for asteroid mining, rammed directly into enemy dreadnoughts. Voidwalker fighters, barely larger than escape pods, swarmed around Council capital ships like angry insects. But the humans provided the tactical coordination that turned chaos into victory. Every Liberation ship was connected to the human command network. Information flowed instantly between vessels. When one group found a weakness, every other ship knew about it within seconds. Council Battle Group 7 is weakening, reported the tactical officer. Their left flank is exposed. Send the Andromedan strike force, Chen ordered. Have them focus on the command ships. The battle was not going as Admiral Zektar expected. His ships were individually superior to anything in the Liberation Fleet, but they could not respond to the lightning-fast tactical changes that human coordination made possible. Sir, we are losing formations across the entire battlefront, his aide reported. The enemy is not following any recognizable attack pattern. Because they are not trying to win a battle, Zektar realized. They are trying to win a war. He was right. The Liberation Fleet was not interested in destroying every Council ship. Instead, they focused on breaking through to Dominion Prime itself. They accepted heavy losses to punch holes in the Council's defensive lines. The UES Defiant led the main assault toward the planet. Council ships concentrated their fire on the human flagship, but it kept advancing. Its hull was scarred and burning. Pieces of armor drifted away like metal snow, but its weapons never stopped firing. Captain, we are taking critical damage, Martinez reported. Hull breaches on 7 decks. Main power at 30%. Can we still fight? For a few more minutes. Then we keep going. Around them, the battle raged with unprecedented fury. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes. Debris fields expanded like deadly clouds. The space around Dominion Prime became a graveyard of broken vessels. But slowly, inevitably, the Liberation Fleet fought its way through. Their losses were terrible. Nearly half their ships were destroyed or disabled. But they reached the planet. Landing craft away, Chen announced over the fleet communication system. All ships provide cover for the ground assault. Thousands of small vessels launched from the surviving Liberation ships. They carried troops from every free species in the galaxy, veterans of 100 failed uprisings, now finally united under human leadership. The Council's orbital defenses fired desperately at the landing craft. Many were destroyed, but many more reached the surface. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Admiral Zektar watched his fleet disintegrate. The Council reinforcements had arrived, but too late. The Liberation Fleet had already established a foothold on Dominion Prime. Sir, ground forces report enemy troops in the capital city, his communications officer said. They are advancing on the Council chambers. Zektar closed his eyes. 3,000 years of Council rule, ending in a single day. Admiral, came a familiar voice over the communicator. Zektar looked up to see Admiral Chen on his screen. Her ship was a floating wreck, but she was still alive. It is over, Admiral, she said gently. Order your remaining ships to surrender. No more beings need to die today. And the Council? What happens to them? They will face trial for their crimes. Those who are guilty will be punished. Those who are not will be free to return home. Zektar was quiet for a long moment. You realize this will bring chaos to the galaxy? Without the Council to maintain order, there will be wars between species. Perhaps, Chen admitted. But they will be free to make their own choices. Even the choice to fight. Is freedom worth so much death? Chen looked around her ruined bridge. Half her crew was dead or wounded. Her ship was barely functional. The cost of victory had been higher than anyone imagined. "Ask the Talari children who will grow up free," she said finally. "Ask the Kresh miners who can keep the fruits of their labor. Ask any being who has lived under council rule whether freedom is worth fighting for." Admiral Zektar gave the order to surrender. Across the battlefield, council ships powered down their weapons and surrendered to liberation forces. On the surface of Dominion Prime, human troops and their allies marched through the crystal corridors of the council chambers. The triumvirate was found in their private chambers, already dead. They had chosen suicide over capture. 3 days later, representatives from every species in the galaxy gathered in the same chamber where the council had ruled for millennia. But this time, no one sat on elevated platforms. Every delegate stood. As equals, Admiral Chen addressed the assembly. "The Galactic Council is dissolved. In its place, we establish the Free Species Alliance. No world will rule over another. No species will be enslaved to serve alien masters." The chamber erupted in cheers from some delegates and protests from others. It would take years to work out the details of galactic government. There would be disputes and conflicts. Some species would choose isolation over cooperation, but for the